What would you do if a stranger kept staring at you in an empty restroom at 2 a.m.? Or if someone silently followed you through a dark subway station late at night? Tonight's stories are not about ghosts. They're about real people. And sometimes, real humans are far more terrifying than monsters. Welcome back to Mystery. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and let's enter tonight's disturbing true encounters. This happened a few years ago in North Carolina. At the time, I was 17 years old and traveling with my dad, who works as a truck driver. I had joined him on the road because I wanted to learn more about trucking. Someday, I planned to get my CDL license too. We had driven from Georgia to North Carolina for a delivery scheduled early in the morning. Around midnight, we stopped at a rest area packed with large trucks. Most drivers were asleep inside their cabins. The place felt strangely quiet. As soon as we parked, my dad instantly fell asleep. But me, I've always been a night owl, so around 2 a.m. I decided to head to the restroom. I even brought my razor with me because I wanted to clean up my mustache while nobody else was around. Big mistake. The restroom had 2 sections. I entered the left side and immediately noticed a tall man standing near the urinals. He had to be around 6'4". At first, I ignored him. I used the stool, washed my hands, and prepared to leave. But the strange part was, the man was still standing there, not moving, not using the restroom, just standing. Then suddenly, as I started walking away, he slowly unzipped his pants and pretended to use the urinal. Something about it felt fake, unnatural. To avoid awkwardness, I walked into the restroom section on the opposite side and started lining up my mustache in the mirror. About 10 seconds later, the same man walked in. My stomach dropped instantly. Why would he leave one side just to come where I was? He slowly walked toward me, then suddenly stopped right behind me. I noticed through the mirror that he looked surprised, almost disappointed, like something had interrupted his plan. That's when fear started crawling into my chest. I kept pretending everything was normal while trying to shave faster without cutting myself. Then he walked toward another urinal, but instead of actually using it, he kept staring directly at me through the mirror, wide eyes. No expression, no blinking, just staring. I nodded awkwardly at him, not because I felt safe, but because I didn't want him realizing that I knew something was wrong. A few moments later, he entered one of the bathroom stalls. When I looked up again, I froze. He was standing completely still in the corner of the stall, watching me. His eyes looked unnaturally wide open. No movement, no sound, just staring. At that moment, I realized this man was dangerous. I pretended not to notice him. After around 20 seconds, he stepped back out and again pretended to use the urinal. That was enough for me. The second I finished shaving, I gripped the razor tightly in my hand and started walking toward the exit. As I passed him, I could feel his eyes following me. Every instinct in my body screamed at me to get out. The moment I exited the restroom and saw the security cameras outside, I felt relief flood through my chest. The man never followed me, thank God. I quickly returned to the truck where my dad was still asleep. But the story didn't end there. About 20 minutes later, my friend replied to my messages and jokingly told me to go back into the restroom while on FaceTime. For some reason, I actually did it. This time the restroom was empty. The man was gone. I showed my friend where everything happened and then walked back outside. That's when I noticed something terrifying. Behind the rest area was another parking lot. Only one car sat there. A red car. Its headlights were turned on. The second I looked directly at it, the headlights immediately shut off. My heart nearly stopped. I couldn't see who was inside. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe it was unrelated. Or maybe the man had been watching me the entire time. I quickly returned to the truck and locked the doors. Nothing else happened that night. But even now, I still think about one thing. What would have happened if I didn't have that razor in my hand? Living in New York City teaches you one thing very quickly. Never let your guard down, especially at night. At the time, I was in my early 20s. My commute home every day was brutal. 2 trains, 1 bus, and then a dark walk home. After years of doing it, I stopped thinking much about danger. Until one night changed everything. I stepped onto a train just before the doors closed. I stood near the exit with my headphones in. At first, I barely noticed the homeless man talking nearby. Then I realized he was staring directly at me. I removed one earbud and asked him what he said. Immediately, he started angrily insulting me, loudly, aggressively. My face instantly became hot with panic. I looked around hoping someone would help. Nobody did. Nobody even looked at me. Everyone pretended not to notice. At the next stop, I quickly exited the train and entered another car. I kept watching through the windows, terrified he'd follow me. 2 stops later, he finally got off, and I realized I'd been holding my breath the entire time. But that wasn't even the scariest part. A few months later, something worse happened. I was returning home from grad school late at night. It was after 10 p.m. The streets were quiet, too quiet. As I walked home, I passed a Popeyes restaurant and suddenly noticed a man from the bus stop staring at me. The second I changed direction, he stopped walking and stared directly at me. Something about him felt wrong. I ignored it and entered Popeyes anyway. But when I left, he was waiting near the dark street leading toward my home, standing completely still, watching. I instantly called my brother. Thankfully, he answered. The moment he heard my voice, he knew something was wrong and started walking to meet me. I slowly walked down the dark street. Then I heard footsteps behind me. The man was following me, matching my pace, quietly whispering strange things. Then suddenly, he softly said, "I love you." My blood ran cold. I immediately turned around and headed back toward the stores where there was light. That's when he approached me directly. He kept asking if I needed help, over and over again, even though I repeatedly said no. Then I noticed something disturbing. He was wearing latex gloves. At night, in warm weather, no mask, just gloves. That detail terrified me more than anything else. He kept telling me I needed to go home, like he was trying to force me down that dark street again. Finally, he walked into a nearby liquor store. At the exact same moment, my brother appeared around the corner. I have never felt relief like that in my life. To this day, I still wonder what would have happened if my brother never answered that phone call. Sometimes the scariest stories aren't paranormal, they're real. real places, real strangers, real danger. So next time you're alone late at night, pay attention to your surroundings, because sometimes your instincts notice danger before your mind does. If you enjoyed tonight's disturbing true encounters, make sure to subscribe to Umair Mystery. And remember, not every monster hides in the dark. Some walk right beside us. Good night.